So, despite the ongoing pandemic and the lockdown, mobile brands are still launching quite a lot of phones. But unless it's a matter of absolute necessity, I don't think you should be buying a phone anytime soon. But again, if you are someone looking for a new phone right now, there are plenty of good options and, well, some bad ones too. Yeah, unsurprisingly, the market is not rid of some bad apples. By that, I mean overpriced and overrated smartphones. While we've released multiple videos suggesting which phones to buy, this one is going to be the exact opposite. So let's take a look at our pick of the phones that you should not buy in 2020. Vivo S1 Pro. Alright, the first phone on our list is the Vivo S1 Pro. Right off the bat, it's not such a terrible phone, not at all. It's just that the company is so bad, so bad at chipset selection on its phones, be it in a mid-range device or a budget device. And that's vividly reflected on the S1 Pro with the mediocre Snapdragon 665 chipset. Design-wise, the phone looks quite pretty and sturdy on the hands. An excellent Super AMOLED display, a fast in-display fingerprint sensor, and a great battery endurance are some areas the phone's got going for itself. However, that's about it. Cameras, the one area where we're supposed to have high expectations from a Vivo phone, does not match your expectations. Vivo S1 Pro's quad cameras failed to produce enough details and lacked significantly in terms of dynamic range in our time with the phone. Moving on, the performance is where you'll get disappointed the most. Snapdragon 665 on a phone of this price range simply is not justifiable. It is okay at best, and Vivo's inclusion of a whopping 8GB RAM is unnecessarily gimmicky. The FunTouch OS isn't that fun either, and the UI is fairly confusing to navigate. With all this, I don't think the Vivo S1 Pro should be your next phone. Vivo V90. Our next pick for the phone that you should ignore right now is the Vivo V90. Yeah, 2 Vivo phones in a row. Who's surprised? The phone just launched a couple of days ago in India for a ridiculous price, just like the S1 Pro, which is terrible considering how price sensitive the market there is. It's a little different than the Indonesian version. This one has a dual selfie camera inside a pill-shaped cutout and is equipped by the Snapdragon 712. Yes, you heard it right. Snapdragon 712 for 28,000 Indian rupees. For me, that's outrageous. Also, some reviews that have come out so far say that the cameras on the V90 are pretty good, but my primary concern is the crazy pricing from Vivo. Hence, the Vivo V90 is one of the worst price-to-performance phones out there, and I think you will be better off buying last year's flagships or even the Amazon renewed phones. Oppo F15. Oppo had scrapped its F series last year, and it was a little shocking to see the company release a new phone under the lineup. Hopefully, it's Oppo's last hurrah at the once popular F series, considering how the Oppo F15 turned out to be. The phone's design is actually not that bad. I mean, look at the colors on the back panel, and the quad camera placement looks fine as well. But don't fall for it so easily because performance is equally underwhelming on a phone of this price range. Oppo is still using the MediaTek Helio P70, which we found on last year's Oppo F11 Pro. And since we have been testing the phone right now, the cameras are also nothing exceptional. With so many good mid-range phones in the market like the Poco X2 or the Realme 6 Pro, the Oppo F15 is the phone you should skip. Honor 9X Global Variant. The Honor 9X is also one of the phones that you should not buy right now. I reviewed it like 3 months ago, and to my frustration, it only received like 9,000 views. So go check out the review in detail where I have criticized the Honor 9X and compared it against the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Anyway, the Honor 9X in here is powered by almost 2-year-old Kirin 710F chipset, and that's most probably the primary issue with the phone. The Helio G90T in other similarly priced phones like the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Realme 6 crushes the 710F by almost 3-fold. Now that's humiliating. I also found the camera to be pretty average and inferior to what the competition offers. Also, the recently launched 9X Pro with Kirin 810 also has the same camera setup, so don't have high expectations with it as well. Additionally, the Honor 9X struggles with its build quality, which we accidentally found out after the front panel shattered on a drop from a very nominal height. Although the notchless display with pop-up selfie camera is pleasing to look at, but the performance and the cameras are just about average, only making the Honor 9X a phone unworthy of your purchase. Huawei Y9S. I'm gonna keep this one brief as it's almost the exact same phone as the Honor 9X. It has the same camera arrangement, it has the same design, and the same level of performance. Lucky for them, the Huawei Y9S and the Honor 9X still resume the support for Google's suite of applications, which is not found in recent smartphones from the company. But here, the Huawei Y9S is even more expensive than the one above. Huawei should realize this by now that just a clean-cut design is not enough to sell smartphones. Realme 6i/Narzo 10. Emphasizing on its master design, the Realme 6i also holds the title for the world's first phone to be powered by MediaTek's new gaming-focused Helio G80 chipset. And just a couple of days ago, the company rebranded it as the Narzo 10 for the Indian market. And this one's a little tricky because the Realme 6i is actually not a bad phone at all. The thing is, you can get a much better device simply by adding literally a couple of thousand or more. That too from the standard Realme 6. The first notable upgrade comes in the form of the display, as the Realme 6 has an FHD Plus panel with a 90Hz refresh rate and a trendier punch hole cutout. On the contrary, the 6i has an inferior HD Plus display with a regular 60Hz refresh rate and a dated teardrop notch. Another improvement, and the most crucial one, is the performance. While the Helio G80 is great and all, the G90T on the Realme 6 is nearly 40% better. A slight improvement can also be found on the Realme 6 with its 64-megapixel quad camera setup, whereas the primary sensor on the Realme 6i is a 48-megapixel lens. Finally, though the Realme 6 has a smaller 4300 mAh battery to 6i's 5000 mAh cell, it does come with a faster 30-watt charging. Because of this, the Realme 6i becomes an unwise purchase, and we strongly suggest you to add a little bit more and get the Realme 6 instead. iPhone SE 2020. Just for $400, the iPhone SE 2 seems like such a great deal, and it most likely is if you're into iOS and Apple ecosystem of products, and if you live in the US. The iPhone SE 2 costs so much more in other regions of the world like here in Nepal and even in India, and therefore is just not worth buying considering its close Android alternatives. The primary upper hand the iPhone SE 2 has is its flagship A13 Bionic chipset and Apple's history of regular system updates for a prolonged period. Discount that and you've got a pretty average phone that compromises in every other aspect of a smartphone. It's got big bezels on the top and bottom, the display is mediocre with its 4.7 inches HD Retina panel, and the camera arrangement is not very versatile either. Also, though the phone does not support wireless charging, the battery itself is a pretty small 1821 mAh cell. Xiaomi Mi 10. Xiaomi has managed to establish itself as a value-oriented company with its smartphones being priced as competitively as possible. However, the company's venture into selling its flagship Mi 10 in the South Asian market is off to a rough start. Launched just a couple of days ago in India, many tech enthusiasts are very upset about its pricing, and rightfully so. In Xiaomi's defense, the phone is absolutely great. The camera system is a little gimmicky, but the rest of the stuff is solid. You get a curved Super AMOLED display with a 90Hz refresh rate, Snapdragon 865, 108-megapixel quad cameras, 30-watt wired/wireless charging, and more. But the one area that the company has failed is the pricing, which should have been way too competitive than it is. Compared to China, the phone costs even more in India, and that will obviously be the case in Nepal too. As Geeky Ranjit Sir pointed out, Xiaomi should have copied the pricing strategy of OnePlus India. However, it's not too late, and Xiaomi could still introduce a price drop and give a strong base to its raw foothold in the country's flagship smartphone market. Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. The end of our list features Samsung's ultra-expensive flagship phone, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. It grabbed all the headlines for its insane 100x space zoom, 108-megapixel cameras, 8K video recording, and more importantly, the price. S20 Ultra went somewhere Samsung had never gone before, with its starting asking price for a whopping $1,400. Yeah, that's too much as the sales figures have made it evident. Additionally, the global COVID-19 situation has also not helped the company's cause either. Although it's supposed to be the absolute best that Samsung has to offer, the phone is riddled with some serious issues. One of the major issues the S20 Ultra is facing is autofocus on its big 108 megapixel sensor. This highlight functionality should have been taken care of before the phone hit the market, but Samsung has clearly failed to do that. And it does not look like something that could be solved with a software update either. Onto the performance, Samsung's custom Exynos chipset is once again taking the heat as more and more Samsung fans are demanding Qualcomm chipset in the company's flagship smartphones. Adding insult to the injury, some S20 Ultra owners have even complained about the phone's glass panel on the rear cameras just breaking for no reason. Moreover, Samsung says that it's not something that the warranty covers, so you will need to pay $400 for repairing it. That's insane. So, despite all the flagship grade features like a 120Hz AMOLED display, 5000 mAh battery, 45-watt wired and 15-watt wireless charging, the phone's atrocious pricing is nowhere near warranted. So that was our list of the phones you should not buy. I know there are plenty of phones that I've missed in this video, so go check out our written version from the description below where we have provided the complete list. Also, feel free to comment down your list of the phones you should not buy. Till then, I'm Pratima. Stay indoors and stay safe.